Conversations, nothing like them. And sometimes they're as good as a holiday. My name is Werner Buchert, and this is Finding Frequency. I got a note from one of my listeners, and in the note, she explained that sometimes having a good conversation is just as good as going out on a holiday or having an amazing experience. And to be honest, that was the same experience I had this morning. I connected with a few friends, and arguably it's part of a colleague of mine. He's doing some content around innovation and entrepreneurship. I got invited to sit in a panel to have a discussion. And at the end of the day, I sometimes, in a lot of the work that I do, I can't help but think like, what is the value to the listener? And that is important, especially when you play my game and some of my colleagues and friends, when you start creating content online, is that you need to always think about how you create value for people who might be listening to it. You also have to be sensitive to the makeup of the panel because you want to be representative. Because, for example, this morning I saw a post in one of my feeds where someone indicated that or claimed that you should be following these amazing designers if you wanted to grow your design career. And it's funny, I don't know if it's because of my friend Terry slapping me in the head all the time, or just the current state of our world at the moment, that I flip through the list, and the old usual suspects are there, of course. Steve Jobs, Johnny Ive, I don't know, there's some Asian dude, I forgot his name now, a famous designer. And I flipped through the list, and of the 7 people that was highlighted by this company, only 1 female. Isn't that a disgrace? But the thing is, as much as I'm on my little soapbox here, I went into the comments and I just saw how this entity got called out for that. And of course, it's always a risk. I also make a lot of mistakes with the content. You can't always help what you're doing, and sometimes you have to have this kind of attitude of learning, what is wrong and what is right. But you need to move forward. You can't be too scared to go out there and make statements. But I think you need to be sensitive. But I'm digressing again because I wanted to talk a little bit about conversation and how it juxtaposes against how you share with people online. And therein is a bit of a contradictory feeling, and I think I'm in that space at the moment. I think I'm desperate, and I appreciate having good conversations, because those conversations is what takes you out of this world that you're in. It introduces you to new reality. It gives you the view and also the ability to have empathy for other people, and also peek into their lives and kind of soothe that curiosity that you have, because you have to remain curious. And sometimes effort to connect with people. But once you're in that conversation, it is really rewarding. And that's what happened today. And I think sometimes you just have to chalk it up as a conversation that is valuable to you. And you're not shy to share it with anybody else. But footnote, you might not find any value in this conversation. I sure did. And I mean, for example, Finding Frequency, I want to have it valuable to you, even if it's just soothing a little bit of curiosity about what's going on here in my personal life here in Poland. But that is important. So it's a bit of a balancing act, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to publish all the conversations you're having online, right? Or share it with everybody. Some of those really personal conversations should remain personal, and you should value them. But nonetheless, conversations, wow, they are indeed valuable. And I'm looking forward to having more. Talking about conversations, I've lined up my good friend Jeff Parks. Now, Jeff is and I'll probably talk a little bit more about him tomorrow, is an old friend and mentor who got me really going in the design world years ago. I wrote a note today because the reason I'm mentioning here is I'm going live with him on LinkedIn and all kinds of other channels to have a conversation, which hopefully will be valuable to people in our world. But I'm just excited to have him on one of my productions. And he is one of the OGs, original gangsters of design. And if it wasn't for him, I would probably not been able to get into the world of design, because I started listening to a podcast of his years ago. I was traveling to work back and forth, long kilometers. I think my first job, I had to drive like an hour and a half to get to the office and an hour and a half back. And I always, in that space where I wanted to change my career, listened to his shows where he interviewed leading designers and, of course, also brought his perspective. And then at some stage, I reached out to him and he reached back and we started having conversations. And through those conversations, I actually ended up presenting at a small little conference in Warsaw, Poland, because he wanted to help his friend out and thought that his friend Werner had something interesting to say. And he proposed me to the organizers of the event here in Poland. I came here, I spoke, and it forever changed my life, because now I have a little 4-year-old running around here in the home, and I live in Poland, and I have an awesome wife who claims to be Polish, but I think she's a bit crazy too. But yeah, that's the story. So I'm excited to have a conversation with Jeff on Friday. We're doing a fair amount of preparation. I'm a little bit nervous because I want to do him justice, but then on the flip side, I know Jeff. I know how he has got this ability to hold the audience and share with generosity. So that's exciting. And at the end of the day, we're just having fun. So here's the conversations. I'm not going to do it right now because my coffee is still hot, but I'll drink a sip of coffee to that one. And by all means, I want to encourage you to reach out and have conversations with someone interesting or someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Set that timer aside, perhaps after this episode, and just reach out and make sure that you lock that conversation into your calendar and make sure it happens. I have one coming up on Monday with a dear friend that haven't been able to speak to for a while, and I can't wait to speak to her too. So there's these things that just as these little shining beacons, and it helps you just move forward. So before I go into a deeper ramble, I'm going to say to you, thank you for listening, and thanks for being part of this conversation.